Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Plastic Cards Podcast, the show where we break down the video game news of the week. My name is Fonzie, and I'm joined by my co-host, indie game dev extraordinaire, and Queen Quarantine, Gavin Jones.
Queen Quarantine, oh my.
Oh, yes. How you been, Gavin?
Sounds like I played the coronavirus challenge and just took away the crown.
Which I don't know if you want that crown, but yeah.
I don't know. And that was one where we all saw the gal that licked the toilet seat, and I feel like that was one where somebody won it out the get-go. They went too hard to start, and and just no one else wanted to.
No, yeah, she was Usain Bolt out of there.
There was no follow-up Tide Pods this time around. This was just we good.
What was the thought process behind that? Because to me, that's just an example of just celebrity and just idolizing being famous. She just wanted to just skyrocket to the top and from something outrageous.
Yeah, I mean,
and it was gross.
I don't know how this stuff works. And you see that one guy who's been made into a meme that was down in spring break. If I get it, then I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Good luck getting a job after that, man.
Good God. Yeah. No,
nice.
Interesting. But
nice.
How you been?
Good. Just, living the quarantine life, staying at home. I already, stayed at home anyway, so this isn't really much of a stretch for us here. But been watching some movies. We watched. I was reaching the bottom of the barrel apparently, so I watched the newer X-Men movie. Was it X-Men something Phoenix? It was the last one they did.
Oh, Dark Phoenix?
Yeah.
That can't be the last one. Was that the
last
one?
It is, yeah. It's the last one, and now Marvel owns the Fox stuff. I think they're gonna reboot everything. But it wasn't bad. It was just really lame. I heard a lot of stuff going in that it was a bad movie. It's not bad. It's just not a whole lot going on. But yeah, it was a thing. But yeah, what are you enjoying on your time locked away?
What did I do this weekend? I was busy Saturday. I went on a big old hike.
Nice.
But I played some Thumper, and can't make it past level 2. That game is fuck off hard.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What else did I play? I tried playing Doom. Can't run it on my PC. Made me very sad because I can run the last Doom on high.
Gotcha.
Maybe very high, and it runs silky smooth, no problems whatsoever. So I figured I should at least be able to run on low with no problems, and I put this sucker on all the settings on low or off. Took off VSync, took off everything, and it ran somewhat playable with everything off, down, but it would still have its moments. Occasionally I'd fire the machine gun and it would go into slow-mo while I'm firing off the machine gun. There's no option to go below 60, and then when I got to, there's the ship that you go back to.
Yeah.
And when I go onto the ship, if I went into any sort of menu on the ship, it would lock up. So unfortunately unplayable.
Damn.
Which I tried to I had a curiosity because I know it was on Stadia, so I'm not willing to pay $100 to try it out on Stadia.
Nope.
But I was curious about streaming stuff, and that's actually why I asked you about the Xbox controller. Because I got invited to the xCloud whatever for my phone, and so I'm like, shit. But I think it requires a wireless Xbox One.
Yeah, at the moment there's no option to use a different third-party thing. Maybe down the line, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so I was like,
that
shit.
Sucks. I want to hear some people playing it on Stadia. I feel like there's no coverage. There's no,
I legitimately looked. Couldn't find it anywhere.
What's going on? Somebody's playing it, right? There's no even reviews when they compare different versions. No one's playing Stadia.
Are they?
Well, I haven't seen any I've been looking for a Digital Foundry when they usually break down all the consoles running a particular game, especially Doom. But no one's throwing Stadia into the mix. No one's playing it apparently.
So, out of curiosity, I downloaded NVIDIA Now to try out their cloud-based program. And it was kind of weird. I played just a tiny bit of Dauntless, and it ran. I felt very smooth. The neat thing about it is if you have a game on a platform you already own, then you can play it on there. So I had Dead Cells, so I could play Dead Cells. which actually ran extremely well. It
Yeah.
wasn't. You could tell there was just the smallest bit of lag because that game is so incredibly precise. But then, like, I downloaded or I tried playing Fortnite on it, and it was just all over the place.
Oh
It
boy.
was rough. Um, so yeah, I was willing to give streaming a shot because if it could work, I'd love to play Doom. Like,
Yep.
play it on Stadia, it'd look better than it can on my PC. But
See,
right
and
now I
that's
just
one
can't.
thing I want to see. Like, I would imagine Stadia would have been ahead of it, showing off the game. Here's how it's running on currently
Right.
on Stadia, and it's such a bummer. There's like no coverage.
I can't find footage of it.
Yeah, or a
I
view or
found some
something.
offstage footage of it, but yeah, I just can't find it.
Gotcha. Yeah, the
So
last thing I found, I think it was one of the big, was it Gamescom or something like that. This is months ago. They did have a playable build that they showed off. People played it, a Stadia version of the new Doom, but that was a long time ago. And
yeah,
yeah, just like for a game that when Stadia was launched or was announced rather, this was on their big platform saying like, hey, this is gonna run 4K, 60 frames per second, and it's just gone. Like no one's talking about it. It's apparently you can buy it there, but no
right.
one's doing that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's sad that I'm so desperate that I definitely play it on that
Right.
platform at this point. But
Yeah, you're super
yeah,
desperate. No, yeah, it's man, I can't wait for you to play this game. I'm hoping if I can speed through this, I'll just let you borrow my Xbox and you can just play it on there.
there we go.
Yeah,
We'll
I'm
see.
willing.
If they had it on the xCloud, I'd be playing it on the xCloud. I'd be all about it. That's gonna be weird. Like the concept with that is, can I basically just play through the brand new Gears of War on my phone now
Yeah, you can in
for
theory.
free? Like,
Yeah,
how weird is
it's one of,
that?
and they've actually upped the games on there. So there's a ton of games on there, and that's one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it has drastically more games than Nvidia Now did. I was actually shocked at the lack of games on Nvidia Now. There's so few. There's
Well, that was
really
the one
very
that
few.
everyone started pulling their support for it, right? Right when they kind of launched, and then everyone's like, "Well, never mind." For whatever reason behind the scenes, all these different companies started pulling their games.
Yeah, I'd be really curious as to why.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I was surprised how well it ran when it was running well. But then when I was playing Fortnite, which I didn't play for very long, but yeah, right as I land, like when I turn, it would just glitch out and it would pull my mouse back.
Uh,
And it was, although it was weird, I landed next to a gas station and some like secret agents with sniper rifles walked out and murdered me. I had no
yeah.
idea what was going on. It's been
Yeah,
so
you're
long since I played.
right. You're super behind, man. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's secret agents. There's a helicopter. Deadpool's in it for some reason. So like it's like light years ahead of you. So yeah, it's always changing, man.
Streets ahead.
Well, nice. I have been playing Doom. That's what I've been playing this week, and I fucking love it, man. I can't wait for you to play, and we can go, in details and in depth. I know, just like kind of touching on bullet points without anything spoilery for sure. The combat, they are nailing it this time. They already nailed it in the last one, but the way that you have to strategize and use your abilities to gain ammo, to gain health. And like the way you have to, like almost like a chessboard, you have to find the enemies to pick first, and the ones you leave for after it. There's the platforming is actually, they really beef up the platforming this time. There's like a lot of platforming.
Yeah, I
I,
saw that as a common complaint
mm,
amongst people was there was just too much platforming, and at least like me watching it from like watching a streamer play it, it just kind of felt like very video gamey.
it is, yeah, for sure. And I guess I liked it in comparison to I guess it was a nice break from all the high paced action. Like it gave me a little
Right.
break. Got to experience the story that way. You'd find cool stuff as you're traversing around, as you're digging through the environment. But I didn't mind it as a balance to when it's fucking balls to the wall action. Like I didn't mind it.
Right.
Because usually it's right after something where it's just like you're mostly drained from fighting all these fucking demons, and then you get to just
Yeah.
jump around and parkour.
Nice,
But
man.
yeah, we kind of talked about like through text, like the environmental storytelling. It's out of control. Like I feel like they should get way more praise. Not only is the combat down, is the game running buttery smooth, the environmental storytelling, you're just walking around, and the way they have stuff laid out, it's beautiful. It's really interesting and cool. They're just like on another level. Like they need to fully support this team, and like this is the new, whatever Fallout 76 happened to that team's, like this is the new kind of like golden goose that they need to promote.
Yeah. It is. I still think it's very interesting with their combat system. One kind of thing that bugged me early on, though I'm sure it goes away as the game continues and you get more weapons. But yeah, it does feel like you're pretty starved for ammo, and you're running out of everything constantly: your armor,
Yeah.
your health, and your ammo. And I think that's sort of interesting from the perspective of, yeah, you do have these three resources that you're constantly management. But the way to get them all is to dive further into combat. You're
Yep.
running out of health, murder somebody. You're running out of ammo, murder somebody. You're
Yeah.
running out of shields, murder somebody. So you're constantly have some form of resource that you're trying to farm, and I think
Yep.
that's really neat. And to a certain degree, it feels good. I'm sure it feels better once because you can upgrade how much ammo you have. I'm sure it feels better once you upgrade that a bit.
I would like to say it does, but I think you just get better at strategizing what you need to do to get more ammo. I feel like they don't really give you any more, but you get better at chainsawing, which gives you ammo, and like just balancing everything else. But I guess it's not really a complaint, but I am constantly running out of stuff. But I think that's the point. They want you to, all the shots have to count. You have to really like plan things out somewhat. You're dying a lot, but then once you get the flow of whatever particular arena, then you're kind of wrecking shit up. But it takes a little while. The last game I played that gave me the same feeling was Celeste, oddly enough. The way you're like just getting demolished over and over again, then you figure out what they want you to do in one particular area, and then you kill it, and it feels so good to actually succeed in what they have in front of you. But yeah, and I love Celeste.
Game. I got
Celeste?
it for free on Epic.
Dude,
I might as well.
Dude,
Speaking
it's like right there.
They have a game that I've been trying to think of forever. Is it free yet? Because for some reason in my head I remember the word bitch being in the title. It's not at all.
Okay.
Where is it? It's coming up here soon. I've been trying to remember this game for forever because I wanted to take some notes from the gameplay. It's
like a platformer, first-person thing,
it's a top-down shooter. It's about to be free.
Okay.
It's free in 3 days. It's called Tormentor X Punisher.
Oh.
And it's got this super neato, like, I don't know, Adult Swim style over the top artwork.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's super hardcore arcade game. And I'm super down to play it. I'm glad it's free now, and I'm glad that now I have the name again. I couldn't come up with that name.
Tormentor X bitch Punisher somehow or something.
I don't know why I thought that was in the title. I was positive too.
I have the trailer pulled up on the side, and it's pretty dope. I feel like this is right up your alley. You love like the top down, almost like bullet hell, just like chaos going on, but it looks actually like a top down Doom. It's actually really cool.
Yeah, and this is definitely a strong case of get good. You can't. Right. There's no moseying your way through this.
Yep.
So.
Which I traditionally don't like that style of game. Like when I'm playing this, I'm thinking of the Demon Souls or the Dark Souls games, rather, like Bloodborne. I've tried those, and they're just like not. They don't scratch that itch for me. But for some reason, Doom, I keep getting punished, and I want to proceed and want to get better. So for some reason, they've cracked whatever balance to where it's getting me going. But traditionally, I don't like that style.
Sure.
All right, Gavin. Well, we played some games. One day you'll be able to play Doom when your PC stops melting. But here's another game we're not going to be able to play, or you're not going to be play anytime soon. It's Half-Life Alyx has released today. I found it odd that the review embargo was limited to the day and date release. Usually that's a bad sign, but apparently it was the complete opposite. I have some review scores here. On Metacritic, Half-Life Alyx has a Metascore of 93. So it's pretty dope. I just pulled up the top 5 reviews. So IGN gave it 100, which is pretty insane. They don't do that often. PC Gamer gave it a 92. Game Informer gave it a 90. GameSpot gave it a 90. And Destructoid gave it a 90. Yeah, it's pretty. I'm happy for the team there. Like, there's such high expectations for Half-Life Alyx. Anything Half-Life related after Half-Life 2, Episode 2.
No, it's incredible, and I mean, they needed that. If this game was anything less than excellent, it would have felt like a 2.
Right.
But yeah, no, I'm very happy for them. I really want to play it. I want to find out why for myself. It does worry me when I was on Destructoid and I saw like 5 different news articles of how to solve a specific problem in it.
Oh.
Are these puzzles going to be too hard?
Right.
Are they a little bit obtuse? Does VR, make things certainly certain things unintuitive. I don't know. I hope not. That's worrisome. But I still want to play it. I want to experience that 9. I wonder how long it is.
Yeah, I read, at least with IGN, they mentioned 15-ish hours.
15? That's a solid amount. That's
right?
More than I expect from my modern video games.
Yeah, especially like VR experiences tend to be smaller, and so this is like a legit, just huge title that they would release. And they have to nail that, like you mentioned, like with Half-Life. The next time they were to jump back in, they have to nail it. One thing I know we watched in some of the reviews or some of the trailers rather, the way you're teleporting, I thought that maybe that would be an issue with you because you're kind of passing by gunfire and you're almost able to not cheat, but like, just skip around. And I haven't heard that in any of the reviews that that's been a negative. So, but you can also play it where you just 1-for-1 run around with the joysticks. But I just wondered if that was going to be an issue. Apparently it's not.
Interesting. I do think for a launch, like for their sort of relaunch into this, it would have been nice if they didn't have the teleport. I mean, have the option, but it would have been nice if that wasn't so integrated. But it looks like whether you're doing regular gameplay or not, you're going to be teleporting. So I don't know how to feel. But I've also never played VR, so I don't know. I know Boneworks gets away without doing the teleporting, but
gotcha.
Yeah, I can't say.
And some of the reviews I've seen or reading rather, there's a lot of comparison to Boneworks as far as just like how everything moves and functions, because they seem to have nailed something with Boneworks and I guess so as well with Alyx. So IGN's doing a bunch of coverage lately, and they talked to Gabe Newell in these pretty in-depth interviews.
I watched it. I got solidly bored halfway through and had to.
Well, it's pretty insane. Like they're picking his brain, and he's talking about how he's got so much money now and just so much time, and he's also a brilliant guy. He's way more interested in like these neural pathway VR things that's going on, like this tech that's related to that. So he's just like off in the weeds, kind of. That's what his main focus is. But at the same time, he understands you can't drop the ball if they were to jump back into the Half-Life world, because he was there from the beginning.
Yeah. But
they do interview the team. One of the guys at Valve, I forget the actual person, and I'll pull it up. But they talk about one of the reasons why they have dipped into doing Half-Life 3, but they always left it alone. And one of the big things was they wanted to get Source 2 finished before they actually worked on a game. And so that was a big reason for the big delay. So like they got Source 2, which was the version after Half-Life 2 of that Source engine. Then they're able to start on Alyx, and that's where they're at now. So really, possibly, they can start tackling another Half-Life now that Source engine is done.
Well, they finally got the iron sort of warmed back up again. So
Yep.
And especially with the release just beforehand of Black Mesa.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was great. I don't know if they kind of worked together to just kind of make the time frame work, but it only helped.
Yeah, I want to play through Black Mesa. I think part of me is just deciding if I should really be throwing that much money at video games right now.
I think a lot of people are feeling that, just because especially this last weekend, Doom dropped and Animal Crossing dropped. So yeah,
I love that those two dropped at the same time. Couldn't be polar opposites, really. Further.
I love all the little crossovers. There's one super dope one with one of the main Animal Crossing little animals just like drumming away in this like metal drum kit, and of course they're just like playing the theme song to Doom in this like super like just metal music video. It's dope.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm hoping somehow we'll be able to play this Half-Life Alyx soon, but I can't wait. I'm excited that it's apparently a masterpiece, so can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. Although that's sort of one of those things too. If couldn't pick a worse time, you can't loan your VR gear out to somebody to play it.
That's true. Yeah, you have to really. I guess you just to just avoid any issues. You just don't share anything like that, especially something on your face so close to your eyes. And yeah. That's a bummer. Well, Gavin, let's keep this bad news train rolling. I guess we'll get out of the way, and then we'll go to some happy news. I don't have any happy news, but yes.
I have a little bit of happy news.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Okay,
so we have GameStop was in the news recently. Some really negative press. I think they kind of just borged their own message. But so this is from Joseph Noop about you.
Their own message was borked.
They borked it again. They flipped it around and borked it.
It's not bad delivery. This was a bad message.
No, you're right. GameStop to close all U.S. storefronts to comply with COVID-19 regulations, move to curbside and digital service only. This is Joseph Knoop of IGN. Starting March 22nd, all GameStop stores located in the United States will temporarily stop customer access to storefronts, processing orders on a digital-only basis, moving to curbside pickup at stores, and e-commerce delivery only. This news comes only a day after IGN originally reported that GameStop decided to close all California stores, following increased public scrutiny over their decision to consider themselves an essential business due to their selling of tech hardware like keyboards and webcams.
Right. I think we need to cover that bit first. Of basically, they were refusing to shut down, even though they were being told to shut down.
Right.
And just a lot of mixed, terrible messaging of what they're saying to their employees. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I wonder if it's just
have enough bad will to begin with.
Yeah.
Just pile some more bad will gravy on them bad will waffles. And,
and now there's been a lot of not heat, but also like because in the news a couple weeks ago, Reggie Fils-Aimé was tied to the jump on the board and like kind of right the ship of GameStop, but he hasn't jumped on yet. So this is kind of still from the top down decision making that he has no part of. But I feel like it's a predicament. It just shows like really with GameStop they're so desperate to try and stay in the race, and maybe that's why they're making these really bad decisions. Yeah. But I'm just not sure why they think it's cool to do that.
I mean, I think they're so low on money that, yeah, it is a big deal for them to lose any business when you're already. I don't know. It's sort of like you're bleeding out and then somebody just takes off a leg, right?
Yeah.
Probably not going to recover now. Thanks.
Yeah, that's the thing. This was really at the worst time for them, where they were really. I imagine they were banking on next gen happening so they could just kind of at least get to a point where they could sell, but now with this just kind of sweeping the floor from under them, I mean, and not that I feel sorry for them, I guess like they're making these decisions like this that is just like super negative, and why you're only hurting your workforce, other people shopping at your store, like just nip it in the bud.
Yeah. Well, that would be weird being there doing curbside pickup though. That's such a strange.
I just have no desire to go there ever, and so not even if I'm just driving by and they throw my copy of Animal Crossing like through my window. It's like,
right.
I'm just gonna avoid it.
I am curious though, because they mentioned, they're essential to like keyboards and computer stuff. Like, is Best Buy count? Like, who counts in that regard?
Right. Yeah, because there is an argument there, and I think it's a just one where people do in this time need chargers, need just kind of like this minuscule kind of stuff, miscellaneous stuff. But I wouldn't classify GameStop in that. I would say maybe, if anybody, Best Buy for sure, or like Walmarts are still open and they have those electronics. But a lot of them are going curbside anyways, so that's kind of how they're avoiding the whole thing.
Yeah. Walmart makes sense. Like a Fred Meyer's, if you have,
right,
in your area or something similar to a Walmart. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, last week there was also, this one was kind of a bummer, just in the sense that we overhyped this completely and we're expecting something else out of it. But it was PS5 had their announcement that they were going to talk about.
It.
You're right. I did. Once I read their initial tweet, I was like, oh, they actually said exactly what they were going to do. But
I heard you're texting me in your hype voice. You're like, they have to do this. They have to do this. They have to say all these things.
Yeah.
Some of them.
They did. Yeah, it was really, it was the community that was just so hungry for PS5 news that we just kind of overhyped this tweet, this message, this GDC stream that was intended to only be that. It was just kind of a comment on hardware, but we were so ready for PS5, we jumped on that. I think it was also, especially since Xbox came out of the gate last week showing everything, and so we thought maybe this is a reaction to that. It was not. I
think this was a bit of a, all these people are so thirsty, and this was sort of Sony's begone thought moment.
Yeah, we're all thoughts now, Gavin. So there is some actual legit news, and it's actually pretty cool to see them talk about the hard drive, especially apparently that's going to be a game changer. So there was some actual stuff to chew on here. The IGN's Jonathan Dornbush has the details here. So PS5 news, everything we've learned from Sony's PlayStation 5 reveal event. PS5 development time. Sony is estimating it will take under a month for most developers to get a handle of the PS5's tech, which is even lower than the company's estimated month to 2 months on the PS4. So as far as like once devs get the stuff in their hand, this is, I guess, fluid enough, relative enough compared to like PC that they're able to jump in faster. if I'm dissecting that or interpreting that correctly.
So in my head, I'm picturing like talking to developers working on the PlayStation 4 and constantly having to call up Sony and say, "Fix your shit." So is this them saying they've got their shit already fixed?
I'm hoping.
I bet it's not already fixed, Sony. I strongly bet no.
Or it just comes with a pamphlet that they have to read first. Like, what's the problem? Okay, now we can call Sony. So one thing, they did go into detail on the SSD. So PS5's SSD features, the SSD, the custom-built solid-state drive, is also key to what Sony's endeavoring to do to help developers. Cerny also explained that the SSD isn't just about improving loading times for the player, but also benefit game design. The SSD on the PS5 will be more like having more RAM. Most of RAM is working on the game's behalf, Cerny explained. The core goals of the SSD in the PS5, according to Cerny, are boot the game in a second, no load screens, design with freedom, more game on a disk and on SSD, and patch installs go away. So that's one of the big things I feel like people are breaking down from this, is that the SSD is apparently lightning fast, and it's really going to allow developers to just take the wheels off, take the chains off rather, and they can kind of rethink, I guess, how they're kind of loading these levels and loading textures and that kind of thing.
Well, I will believe it when I see it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's
For
a
sure.
big claim. I know. Like, I mean, saying it's like having more RAM is like, well, duh. But yeah, I don't know enough of the differences between their system and Microsoft's system. If it really does do what they claim, then that would be interesting. Now, it's all going to get equalized when people are doing cross-platform online matches, and you still have to wait for Xbox, which is only going to be a few more seconds. And I was honestly a little bit surprised at how slow it appeared on Microsoft, even though it's like double what it is now. Yeah, we'll see. I think the proof is going to have to be in the pudding and the price tag, and
and
they mentioned the expandability of it too, how you can bring in something, but it has to be approved.
Yeah, and that's a little bit different from Microsoft. So the Microsoft is focusing on these proprietary with, I want to say it was Seagate was a company, that they're making their special PCI cards that are, that pop in there. And Sony's offering something similar, but they're letting third markets just create their own, or third parties rather, so they don't have to work on their own Sony licensed thing. But apparently it's ones that are approved by Sony. But yeah.
Right.
There was a conversation on the teraflops, which I think we're realizing now don't matter as much. But because the actual hardware specs,
it does. I think the way somebody put it on IGN that I thought was smart is it's like one of these has a V8 and the other one has a turbocharged V6. They're pretty well going to get to the same point at the same time. It's just two different ways of getting there.
Gotcha. Yeah, so it's 10 teraflops compared to the 12 that Microsoft had. One thing that was interesting about their special SSD is the actual size. It's a 825 gigabyte SSD. I find that's weird to an odd number. Usually they're a terabyte, and I guess that's not with or maybe that's with the software, the OS included, but it just seems like a weird spec to give out.
You got to also understand that a terabyte, if someone sells you a terabyte, it's not actually a terabyte. A terabyte is like a round number, and you're not really going to get that with computers. There's just a point where people have begun to round up, and you even see that with screens like 4K. 4K isn't actually 4K. It's a high number, but it's not that number. So it's sort of this. Just tell people it's a thing and move on. If
you get close to it enough, they just say, "Hey, that you can put the stamp on it."
Yeah, gotcha. Exactly. So,
but I guess then on the Sony's end, why not just call it a terabyte? Then why give this specific That's the only thing that was weird to me. It's a specific 825 gigabyte SSD, and not just say, "Hey, it's a terabyte." But yeah,
maybe it is a ways off. I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know if that's relative to their special SSD. I don't know. Maybe that's the key of the speed is you just have less. Gigabytes on it in the first place.
It's back to a 32-bit platform. It can only go so far into memory. It's a real thing.
So the actual stream, I woke up early. I watched it. It was a dud, but looking back, there was a lot of info in it. And then also Mark Cerny, who's the lead architect on the PS4, PS5. He's such an incredibly smart dude. So a lot of the stuff he just goes over my head, but you can tell this guy's passionate. He knows what he's talking about. I don't know if he's fun to hang out with at a party, but he knows what he's doing when it comes to this architecture.
It's a good question. What are you drinking, by the way? I see what looks like some sort of Coke mixed drink, but you have a
Uh,
Corona in front of
yeah,
it.
just that's just in support. I feel like this company is going to have some issues with their name, so I just want to have my solidarity with Corona. But I
We're
do
gonna get
have
that credibility back.
yeah, or they just put a White Claw sticker on all their Coronas in the future, and that's how they rebrand. But yeah, it's a whiskey and some sugar-free Dr Pepper.
Oh, there we go.
So breakfast of champions.
That's what Tiger Woods says.
Yeah. That was on his downhill trajectory. So Gavin, we have some news on Call of Duty Warzone. They're just getting all the players apparently. So
it's killing it. Well, especially right now, you're gonna get every single player.
Yes, that's the thing. So The Verge has that as well when they talk about like why their player base is so huge. So this is Nick's data, TheVerge.com. Call of Duty Warzone, Activision's new battle royale, has released less than 2 weeks ago. It has more than 30 million players, the publisher announced on Friday. This makes it one of the fastest growing free-to-play titles in the industry, putting it on par with BR competitor Apex Legends, which hit 25 million players after its first week back in February 2019. Helping the matter, of course, is the massive surge in work-from-home policies and shelter-in-place orders nationwide as people stay indoors during the novel coronavirus pandemic. Also helping the matter is that Warzone is a free-to-play download, even if you don't own the existing Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So yeah, this is I guess it's a no-brainer, but for a while, Activision seemed to avoid this model of going free-to-play, or even like sectioning off the multiplayer aside from the single player. But now this has paid off. Maybe they've waited for the best time to jump into this kind of thing.
Probably not. I feel like this is literally how long it took them to make it.
Like
you figure they made their last battle royale. They hurry, make the new game. We want to put the battle royale in this one as fast as this is a very realistic timeline for them to be putting this out as fast as they can. I think timing was just luck.
Yeah,
I really do, and that's okay. I think, but it was always gonna make gangbusters.
Yeah.
And it's fun as hell to watch. I watch a lot of streamers playing this game. I think it's absolutely fantastic to watch. I hear it's fantastic to play.
I enjoy it. Yeah, it's super easy to jump in because it's like a huge version of the regular Call of Duty, loadout, the regular Call of Duty map. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I've heard.
But that's my thing. It's like I feel like they've tiptoed around this idea for a while, and I'm surprised they didn't do it sooner. At least charging people separately with offering either a free-to-play, which is its own issue, right? But also for a while, there was always conversations of separating the multiplayer from the single player and just offering like a multiplayer. What do you mean by that?
I think let me look on Steam and see which one I have just the multiplayer for. I think it was...
Oh, okay, gotcha. For PC.
Not Modern Warfare. I think Future Warfare. I bought just the multiplayer.
Oh, okay, there you go.
So yeah, you can buy them separate. So they've had that for a while. I think this is their first time doing free to play with a portion of it. And if you think about it, it really is a third of the game. You have the single player, you have the multiplayer, and you have the battle royale multiplayer.
And also that when they did mobile, Call of Duty Mobile, I guess that was free to play too. But maybe that's them kind of, I guess, figuring out possibly server stuff. But it's pretty nuts how if you play Modern Warfare Warzone, it's such a huge map and it just runs well. It's kind of surprising how well it runs. It's because it's the detail you don't really lose a detail in this crazy new engine they've done, and it's fucking huge and there's a bunch of people playing at once, but it functions and it's still fun as hell.
I think one of the things that really surprises me, and again, I mainly just watch streamers playing it, but typically with free-to-play games, you're going to have an issue with cheaters. You can just re-download the game under a new account, start cheating all over again. I'm not really seeing that with this. Now, people are goddamn laser beam machines to begin with on PC, but I don't know. Maybe they have some good anti-cheats. It's certainly impressive. I don't feel like I'm seeing a lot of cheaters from what I'm seeing anyway.
You're right, and I wonder if they did have something behind the scenes. I feel like they would advertise it more because that was that whole thing with that newer project from Riot where they're like really promoting their new tools for changing the whole cheat landscape. But you're right, and that keeps the base happy too if you have less cheaters on there.
Oh, absolutely. Right. What a terrible way to lose to a cheater in a battle royale game. That's just
although
so much fun to be killed.
Anytime I listen to my nephew, who's 10, playing in multiplayer games, he's convinced everyone is always cheating, and there's no way he could possibly lose from his own skill. It's always somebody doing something else to him. So in his world, everybody's cheating and using aimbot and stuff. Yeah. Well, Gavin, let's see. We also have Sony pulling popular Mario creation from Dreams after Nintendo complaint. This is it's a thing. It's from Kotaku. It's Zach Wisen.
Someone was going to do it. Someone was going to do it first.
That's the thing. I guess you'd hope Nintendo be cool for once when it comes to this kind of stuff, but nope. They're definitely following suit what they usually do. But so the actual article from Zach Wisen writes, one of the most popular and downloaded Mario character models in the PS4 game Dreams has been removed after Sony received a complaint from Nintendo. As reported by Eurogamer, a Dreams creator by the name of Piece of Craft, who made the popular Mario model, recently tweeted that news that Sony had pulled their Mario from the game. When fans asked why, Piece of Craft explained that in an email they received from Sony, it mentioned that Nintendo had claimed a copyright strike on the model. And I guess this really just shows that now they're going to officially start doing that. Maybe we had our window of a month where they were letting it ride, and now their lawyers are sniffing around and going, hey, let's actually copyright this stuff.
It's nice that at least Sega has had a history of not doing that. So we'll see, considering the amount of... Maybe that's why there's so many Sonic games in Dream. But it'll be interesting to see what goes next. I saw I watched a video on a super big Avatar: The Last Airbender project being made that looked very ambitious. There's a lot of neat stuff that people are trying to make, so we'll see where this goes next. But I wouldn't mess with Daddy Nintendo. That's for sure.
No. Well, Gavin, you mentioned you had some good news.
Maybe that's how I'll play Doom.
through Dreams, yeah. There you go. Just wait a couple of years before somebody can make it. But you know what? I'm sure we're on the heels of somebody recreating Doom in a fucking awesome way on Dreams. But yeah.
Absolutely.
Gavin, you mentioned you had some good news, and I'll parlay this to you with some of the articles you had.
Are we sprinkling in mine between yours then?
Yeah. Well, that's all I got. So that was my beautiful transition.
Okay. So let's see. I think, did you ever play Chrono Trigger at all growing up or anything?
No, but I never fully was able to tell apart that between Final Fantasy. They're very similar, right? Is that fair? Because I always kind of put them together in my mind.
I think they were kind of sort of made by the same company, I want to say, because I think it was...
Maybe a Square Enix thing? Square
Enix or an Enix or a Squaresoft thing.
Gotcha.
I don't really know that breakdown, but it was definitely, to my understanding, an RPG developer. Well, if you're not excited about that game, you may not be excited about this. No, there's a game coming out in a while, I'm sure, called Sea of Stars, made by the developers... I want to say that made The Messenger, I think, is the Ninja game.
I watched this. Yeah, I forgot about
it. It just looks fucking lit. It's definitely got a Chrono Trigger style battle system where you're walking around in the environment, and rather than whoosh and taking you off to a separate screen, you just do battle right there, which is so much more immersive. Even though you're doing turn-based combat. It's gorgeous. I can't believe how pretty it is, how great the effects look. It really looks like they have this big AAA team from back in the 90s somehow working on this game, and really just looking... I really want to play it. I need to finish Chrono Trigger one of these days. It is beatable. It's hard, and you definitely have to grind, but it is beatable.
Gotcha.
And you also have to use your noggin and put up with some bullshit, but it's put up withable.
I know with this, I saw that trailer. I want to say it was like end of the week, and I mean they had me at Messenger because I loved Messenger. Yes. I didn't finish it, and I'm traditionally not a fan of the turn-based stuff. But knowing their caliber, what they can do, seeing the trailer, how beautiful it is, I'm on board. Like I really do want to try this.
Yeah, it makes me wish, and this is something I've been wishing for a while, because when I do my exercise bike, right behind me, I'm on there for a solid like hour, 10 minutes, and I really wish I had a game I could play during that time. Like I wish I had but the problem is I get so sweaty. I wish there was a sweat-proof controller. That's what we need, some sweat-proof.
Gavin, Size has been trying to crack that for a while, and it can't be done.
So sweat-proof, if we can get a sweat-proof Switch controller, we're gonna be perfect because it's already to your sides. But yeah, I would love to beat Chrono Trigger that way. It'd be fantastic for this.
I've thought about that similar idea because yeah, you can split the Joy-Cons. I thought about running like on a treadmill. Can you actually keep, can you focus on what you're doing controller wise and still move your hands independently?
I think you would need something that's not so incredibly timing based. Like you could not play Mario. It's too precise to be doing this stuff. But something a lot less precise, like a turn-based RPG, maybe a racing game, something certainly easier, maybe an RTS. I don't know. It could be fun. It'd be really neat if you could integrate it. But again, sweat-proofing something is I don't know how you do that.
Well, what if
black baggies and call it?
There we go. You're underwater somehow. What if we can integrate, create a new YouTube series where we have you play the Dark Souls games on Switch, but you're on the treadmill the whole time, just to see if you can beat it. It's gonna be
like that guy who played Death Stranding with the.
Oh yeah, on the treadmill, like he hacked everything. Yeah, that was dope.
I did almost consider the other day when I returned Doom. I'm like, fuck it. Maybe I don't know why in my head, but I'm like, I should play Dark Souls. It's just in my head. Maybe I finally try this. I'm just so worried that I'll get really addicted to it, and I think I will. And that's the thing. So many people go into it thinking they're not going to be that into it, then they play it and they can't stop.
Yep.
So it'd probably be me.
Nice.
Yeah. So next, I don't know that you're going to care about this one, but this game releasing in a few days, maybe the 30th. I can't remember. This game has been in development forever. Go ahead and start looking up the trailer now. It's called One Step from Eden.
That sounds vaguely familiar.
It's been worked on for so long. This is the battle system is taken straight, well, not quite straight, mostly out of Mega Man Battle Network, which is a battle system that no one has emulated since, which is a shame because it's an amazing system where you're on the grid, the enemies are on their grid, they have specific patterns, and it's just because it's on that grid, and when you tap the button, you're instantly in the next position. It's just lightning fast. It's crazy how chaotic those battles got back in the day. And now they're bringing that with a little bit of deck building, some kind of somewhat Slay the Spire elements, but not really because this is real time. It's just balls to the walls. Action. It's really pretty. I'm super excited about it, and they've been working on it forever. So it's nice to see someone finally pull this off, and so far people seem to be liking it. I'm tremendously excited.
I do have the trailer up. Yeah, it looks really cool. I mean, I know you're definitely the expert on the deck building stuff, but I find it very interesting the grid pattern that's going on. I don't know what the hell's going on, but it still looks pretty. It looks very fast paced, and that's maybe more where it's like approachable from my end. But I have their Kickstarter pulled up. I'm not seeing how much they funded. I'm sure they just kicked out of the park. Oh yeah, they pledged 70,000. Okay, yeah, they generated 70,000.
But they've been working on this for years. I feel like I've been just hearing about it for so long. But yeah, it looks and I think it probably took them a while to really nail down the gameplay. Like they had the grid-based game. I didn't realize it was a roguelite. I feel like it wasn't for a while. Maybe it was. But yeah, it seems like they've taken their time. This is not an early access release. This is a full release.
Gotcha.
Yeah, just couldn't be happier for these guys. It's going to be really fun. So yeah, there's that. And my last story, which this one's going to be fun. Look up the trailer for Plug, and hopefully you don't get any sort of butt plug stuff in here. I saw this on
some autofill.
Link. I saw it on Gamasutra. That was created in response to, I don't know whether it's Jam or necessarily what it's called, maybe a competition. It's a thing called Control Alt, which is about making games with very alternative controllers. And we've gotten all sorts of weird things out of this competition. We've gotten like, people controlling stuff by grabbing different fruit, or there's an arcade cabinet where everyone's racing through a level. It's 3 players, but in the back, there's actually someone in the back of the arcade cabinet moving chains and cranking wheels and shifting levers like the Wizard of Oz, trying to change the game and defeat these people. And this one was neat from the perspective of, I don't know if you're watching the trailer, but yeah, you have...
So what is it? It's not butt plug, but what did you say it was?
Plug.
Plug. Okay, I thought I typed that in, but yeah. I pulled up a weird music video, but I will find this. Plug. Okay, is it black and white?
Nope. Here, I'll find it for
Gotcha.
you and put a link in here.
Plug,
Oh,
plug.
Unity debuts new cloud-based platform for simulating game playtests. Is that what I think it is, where you can just put out a link to your game in the cloud and people can test it?
Without having to download it? That's pretty cool.
That would be so amazing. They test their Unity game simulation service. They pitch remotely simulate.
So I do have, I think this is the right trailer. Alt Control GDC Showcase. There's like a module thing going on.
Maybe. So it's like the blocks?
Yeah, yeah.
Let me see if I can find the proper trailer for it. The
Gotcha.
trailer is actually very funny.
This is from March 23rd.
Oh, is it GDC? No, that's not.
It's a Gama Sutra article, but
Yeah, it's a guy trying to put his mouse into his controller.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's the trailer. So yeah, basically it's you have this tank. You have a block. You start off with a block, and it's your tank, and you can tilt it left and right, and then you grab another block and you put it on your block, and then you grow like an arm or something, or a tentacle, or a propeller. And so when you manipulate these pieces, I think you spin your propeller, it spins your propeller in the game. You press this punch button, it'll punch, but it's relative to where you've attached it to your block, or like the propeller to jump. And it just looks super adorable, and I imagine that would just be so... I'd love to know how many players it can go up to, and really you get like 4 people together in a room putting together their blocks, trying all these different strategies. I just think this looks so incredibly fun, and I want to play it, and it's a perfect example of the fantastic stuff we get out of the alt control GDC showcase, and in this thing in general. Just really fantastic creativity that we get out of this, and it really makes me want to mess around more with. They said they did a lot of this with the Diurno, I think is how you pronounce it, which allows you to read from all sorts of sensors.
Okay.
And I would just love to know more about that and play around with that and see really what can be done out there with these sensors, and making all sorts of goofy stuff. But yeah, I just think this looks so phenomenal.
So I do have the trailer pulled up, and yeah, so towards the end, they're using the little dudes you've created to fight each other, and it's pretty wonky and ridiculous. That's dope. I wonder, like, just how these things are communicating to each other. Like it looks like he's using these foam blocks, but maybe inside are the actual chip hardware you're talking about, and that's what tells the game, hey, this is stacked a certain way, that kind of thing.
Yep,
that's pretty dope.
Exactly what's happening. Yeah. So
how would they release something like this? Would it be...
You can't.
Gotcha.
I mean, that's not really the point of alt control. None of these games are going AAA release, but they are fun things at like a showcase. You can go to an event. There can be several different games. I know one. I don't know if it was originally from it, but you can look up a game called Line Rider. It's probably the old Flash game. Shoot, Line Wobbler. That's what it's called.
Okay.
Wobbler. There we go. Oh, can you make it yourself? Anyway, this is made with like an LED switch, and you play it with like this spring. It looks like one of those springs you'd have on like a wall to stop a door from slamming into it. And you wiggle the spring to move your character, and it's so brilliant. Some of these really weird things people have made to play these games. So that's another fantastic example.
I'm looking at gameplay. Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
Right?
So
and
it's
it feels
like
weird when you play it. The controls are really unintuitive, but they are neat and very novel for what you're doing.
Gotcha. Yeah, so you're kind of cranking forward and back, and there's this like LED strip. And so this is the actual name of the trailer, or the video rather, is 1D game with custom spring joystick controller. It's like a 1D dungeon crawler. I'm not sure how you can tell what's going on.
Different colors, enemies are moving at you. There are certain safe zones. There are certain things you can do, but it's tricky because the spring is very imprecise. So it's very tricky, but that's fun. It's very fun. Yeah. So
That's
but
dope. I wonder if there's a, not now, but like if you could kind of, if there could be a traveling trade show like this where you can have all these different devs who are making experiences like this and just kind of show them off. Or I guess they have to individually go to stuff like PAX and I guess, not E3, but those
I
kind of
want to
public
say these
events.
things do go to PAX, but I could be wrong. But there absolutely needs to be, and that's kind of
Yeah.
how some games used to be back in the day. There was what's that really weird game where it's like these creepy looking dudes and they're fencing. Um,
Oh, yes. Dang, I forgot the name. I know what
uh,
you're talking about. It's like Nidhogg or something.
Nidhogg, there we go. So Nidhogg used to be that's what it was. He'd have this arcade machine. He'd travel around to different shows and he'd show it to people and they could play it. What is it? Bennett Foddy's really bad chess, or Bennett Foddy's speed chess, where it's was it 8v8 chess and everyone controls a different unit. You all go as fast as you can. It's real time.
Yeah.
There definitely is a scene for these traveling show games, and I mean it's something I'd absolutely love to get into. I think that's incredibly fun. I'm sure it's very
Yeah.
expensive, and it's probably you definitely have to get sponsored everywhere you go. But just what a phenomenal thing to do to just travel around the country and put a smile on people's face. And I'm sure that's what this game will do. I'm sure it's probably not that hard to transport. Probably the hardest thing would be any banners or screens or computers you need to lug around with you, but I'm sure you can run that on a laptop, bring in the blocks. God, that just looks fun.
Yeah, I love the idea of these experiences you can't replicate anywhere else. You have to go somewhere. You have to
Right.
kind of meet them, and yeah, that's super dope.
Right. Yeah.
Nice, Gavin. You got anything else on there in your magic bag of news?
I think that's all I had. Think I had anything? No. I think
Do
that's
you,
all I got.
you have a Nintendo Switch? Do you have any desire in playing Animal Crossing? Did that show up on your radar at all? Okay,
No.
gotcha.
After playing it on the DS, I was done.
I see. Well, I feel like over the weekend, just seeing people on Twitter just to have a blast and getting stung by bees. Apparently, that's a thing, and making their own T-shirts. It's like it seems cool and fun, but I don't know if it's if I'd be wasting my money if it's for me.
I did enjoy watching somebody who played fighting games taking advantage of invincibility frames and dealing with the bees. So they
Oh,
would
really?
go out and they'd switch what their equipped item it is. So they'd hold it in the air and they'd be invincible, and the bees would fly right through them. So
Nice.
because yeah, they'd wait until they strike and do that. So it was clever.
Did you also see you can poop in the game? Apparently.
Oh boy, just what I've always wanted to do. Nintendo, thank you. You've sold me on Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Honestly,
It's
I'm glad that I'm not into it because there you can play that game for so long. I mean, it's kind of like
yeah.
that too with which it's similar but not Stardew Valley. Like, thank God
Sure.
that's not my cup of tea. I would never see the sun. So
It can be a legit addiction because I mean they
yeah.
nail the gameplay where it's just a loop that you constantly want to stay in, and yeah,
Mhm.
that's you're right. Luckily, we're not born with that. I'm so fickle that it's like I just lose interest all the time. That's my main
Right.
thing. So it's like I might be addicted to something, but then I drop it for the next thing that I'm addicted to, or the next thing. So I just keep
Right.
moving.
Well, I think you play. Luckily, you play a lot more. Uh, seems like a lot more streamlined games, or where you're going towards a goal. With the exception being like City Skylines, I suppose,
Yeah,
or
that's. I just jumped into that this weekend. Actually, I forgot there's an
yeah,
update on that game, and so they got me again, and I just spent a good I don't know 5 hours. I love that fucking game.
yeah, yeah. So, but it's good, and you get so much as we talked about. I don't know whether we talked about it before on the podcast or not, but with that, the developer paradox, their goal is they're just going to keep giving you good shit, and I think they said every other update is a free one, so the game just gets more and more valuable over time. I know one of the guys was saying there, he's like, I argue that we should raise the price of our game over time because it's worth more over time.
Sure.
All right, fair enough. Don't
Yeah,
do
it's-
it. But
No, I think that community loves the fact that they like every other release is a free title, and they're just adding so much to it. And
Yeah.
it reminds me, I missed out on one of the last SimCities that came out. Was it SimCity 4? I think they had the big issue where it was online only, or that was the focus on the
Oh.
release. They changed that eventually, but they like really fucked that launch up. And I wanted to jump in. I wasn't able to. And so seeing City Skylines, they completely took their lunch and just devoured it, because now I see EA making no attempt to do any kind of SimCity reboot. But how do you when City Skylines completely demolishes that or dominates that genre?
I think you go in a different direction. It feels like City Skylines really went into people that want to get into the nitty gritty. Not that SimCities didn't, especially the older ones. I don't know about the newer ones, probably. But yeah, that really allows you guys to go into that nitty gritty. So how do you, what direction do you go with it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's interesting. I'm actually gonna, once we're done here, I'm gonna go play more of that. So thanks for reigniting that that flame. But yeah,
that's what I'm here to do, and I'm gonna go look for my sweat guard
Switch controller.
I hope those exist, because that'd be perfect. I could just set it
Yeah.
right there. I don't know what I'd play. Maybe some. Ooh, I do have that. I do have. I could finally. This is how I beat Final Fantasy VII. This is how
There
I
you go.
do it
There you go.
before the game comes out.
Yep. You know what? Before I forget, I did play the RE3 demo that came out. This is on Thursday.
Oh yeah, I was watching some footage. That is fuck off pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. So this is that same is it RE engine from the last one, and then from RE7. It's fucking beautiful. Something about it. I mean, they can keep this going where they don't really need to upgrade it. Like, this is ready for next gen. Like, I feel like it's just keep this engine going. It's very beautiful. Runs really well. It's super gory and scary. I mean, I'm really digging that demo.
Yeah, something we didn't kind of talk about last week, because I don't think I'd seen it at that point, was Digital Foundry. They were talking with the guys over at the Coalition or whatever that works on Gears, and how quickly they were able to kind of put in all these features from PC into the Xbox,
The Series
X, and really make it gorgeous. And
I saw that they uploaded that video. I haven't watched it, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I can say definitely watch it on a 4K screen, because I was watching on my phone and they were showing side by side of the last or current gen to next gen, and I could barely tell the difference. So yeah, definitely watch that in 4K on a 4K screen. But it's super impressive. It also made me think of, they were doing all the talk with Doom, and that's why I thought I could run Doom on my PC, because they mentioned you look at the fact that Doom Eternal is running on the same console as Doom 2016, yet it looks so much better, and they're doing all these more things. So it's like, yeah, we can do so much more on the same console. But on my fucking PC, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Is that the benefit of knowing the hardware that's going to be there, and just streamlining it for that hardware? And then with PC, you have all these different drivers, or graphics cards, that kind of thing.
Give me 1 second.
Yep.
My cat was trying to get in. Yeah, I mean, fixed hardware is definitely a big deal. But I don't know. I still feel like it should run on my PC. This makes no.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's strange, but yeah, the new Gears looks like it's going to look phenomenal. I'm very curious how it's going to look on my phone.
Yeah, I want you to spend the weekend, spend the week playing that, because I'm interested to see how your experience is just playing. Oh, you need the controller, yeah.
I may have to consider, how much are those controllers?
They're $50-ish. I think. I feel like they revolve around that. If you want a new, $60.
X controller.
You might be able to find a used one somewhere.
$500. Excuse me, eBay.
But it comes with an Xbox One.
And get the Elite from Walmart for $225.
Don't do that. The controllers are dope, but you don't have to get the super high end one. But yeah,
What is? Oh no, GameStop is closed.
Yeah, we just talked now. They'd actually come in handy, but
How much is it on Best Buy? Anyway, I make it if it's yeah, they're $60. So I
yeah,
figure you figure $60, and now I can play a ton of games for free. That
right,
my PC can no longer handle.
right.
And right now they're doing testing for the PC version. So in theory, when the PC version comes out, I can start playing all these next gen games
On your
on
yeah,
my
you
PC.
just need your controller and that's it.
Yeah, although I'd be surprised if this one doesn't work. It'd be kind of lame if that
Yeah,
didn't
maybe with
work.
the PC, but I know with your phone it's got to like link through Bluetooth. But
Yeah, I mean that is weird too. Like, could we potentially? Can I? Because you have Game Pass. Like, I'd be
mhm.
curious to know if through XCloud I could play. Could I play like Sea of Thieves with you or something
Right.
else? I don't know if you have anything on Game Pass that's potential with crossplay, or how does my phone then count as an Xbox? What does my phone count as when I'm playing?
Yeah, that's very interesting. I'm not sure. You're in uncharted territory. I feel like in theory it should work because it's
Yeah.
just kind of treating it as its own I don't know, nebulous thing where it's not a PC, it's not a console, but it's still able to connect to the server. I feel like we could connect still. I have Sea of Thieves, I have the new Halo, I could re-download new Gears. It's all in the Game Pass stuff. It could work.
Ooh, is the new Halo game on the Game Pass?
Yeah, Master Chief. Well, I want to say Halo 5 is possibly the Master Chief collection, possibly not, but I think it is. All their first party stuff is on Game Pass.
It's a lot to give away if they have, because the Master Chief collection is just a ton.
Yeah, it's like
If you
five
get that.
games, 6 games, or whatever.
That would be really cool if like we had a way. Yeah, we could actually. I've never beat a Halo game.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah,
you gotta get into it.
so we gotta go through. We gotta beat. I think we can split screen it. That would be a really fun night if we.
On your phone, split screen. We just watch the one phone and then
No, you
split
can do
it.
split screen on like a 4K TV and
Oh
actually
yeah, yeah.
see it. But
Right, right.
we gotta do it. We gotta get some drinks and beat some Halos.
I'm down.
Although maybe not now because we're all quarantined.
Yeah, until we get our hazmat suits, we have to stay
Yeah.
away from each other.
Yeah. That being said, I'm pretty sure my PC could actually run a Halo game.
There you
Any
go.
of anyway, getting carried away.
I like where your head's at, though, Gavin.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Gavin. Yeah, we'll end it there. Alrighty, Gavin. That's it for us this week. Where can they find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at DrunkDevs.
Nice. You can find us at Plastic Heart Pod on Twitter as well. That's it for us this week. We'll see you next week. Bye bye.